Hello, boys. I'm back.
The following content contains adult language and humor that is not suitable for viewers under the age of 18. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. The views and opinions expressed during the following video content are those of the individual and may not reflect those of others. Thank you.
I don't agree with you.
Good evening and welcome, one and all, to this edition of PACIFIC414 Pop Talk, live on the PACIFIC414 YouTube channel and Rumble channel, along with deleted scenes on YouTube and on Twitter. I'm your host, Mike. With me tonight is my co-host, Orman Tagge, and our esteemed guest, Deleted Scenes. How are you gentlemen doing tonight? Starting with our guest, Deleted Scenes.
I'm doing fair to partly cloudy. Good evening to you and to everyone in the chat.
Good. And how about you, Baron? How are you doing?
Why must you lie to us in that opening? You said cash money of the Phantom Booligans. He's not here. He's still doing his marathon game of Assassin's Creed. I saw that. I go, oh, Cash is going to be here. No, he's not here. Playing Assassin's Creed.
No, he's not here. He's still under the weather, so I hope he gets plenty of rest. He was sounding better yesterday when I talked to him, but he's still not feeling 100%.
All the people he calls when he's in Fullerton, California jail, it's you. Just come out with it. You got arrested when you were in Fullerton. That's what it was, Cash. We know better than that.
No,
I'm fine.
I'd rather he take the time to get better and not try to push himself. And but Cash, we do miss you. We do miss you, brother.
Yeah, with everybody so far.
All right, Al Bundy.
Well, see, the thing is it's going to be a while because he's having fun hitting on all the female guards at the Fullerton jail. So. Probably hear about all the harassment charges he gets, restraining orders.
They're going to be mesmerized by his chin.
Oh, always. That's his tool. That's it's like a sex symbol. It's a man with a big chin like that. You know how it is.
Actually, I don't know because I don't have a magnificent chin like Cash Money does.
Well, that's why I wear a beard. I don't either. I have I have chin envy. I always have.
Yeah. But tonight there is no envy here on PACIFIC414 Pop Talk, as we will talk to Deleted Scenes about his YouTube channel, his YouTube journey, how it all started, and where he sees it going 6 months to a year from now. But first, before we do that, I do want to acknowledge those in the chat, and yes, we do have a new episode of Beverly Hills 414 from T-Gap Steve. Speaking of which, he is here this evening. Good to see you, T-Gap.
Big Daddy T-Gap Steve. Get it right.
I know. I already said it wrong. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, guys.
Wow. Ow! My ears. Oh, great. Now I got whatever it is you had. Oh, thanks. That's how Cash got it. Right to the headphones.
Very, very, very funny. Very funny. We
So.
also have our esteemed guest, Deleted Scenes. We also have Connie Cleary. Good to see you, Connie. We also have Admiral Teague. Good to see you. We also have Phil McCracken, the troll himself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Phil. Okay, yeah. Keep believing that. Keep believing that.
I think what I think it is I think he's poisoning Cash. He is Italian. He is Italian, and they're known to be poisoners, and that's what I think. That's what's happened.
And we also have Christian DeLorme's Vinyl Revival. Good to see you.
Oh, wow.
We also have everybody's favorite penguin besides Punk Waddle. Low Spec Linux laptop.
2 penguins enter. 1 penguin leaves.
And we also have that crazy guy from Norway, Jason Fox of 540 Studio. And we also have Lady V Elements. Good to see you, Lady V. Let me make sure that I have everybody. No, I don't. And we also have Sears Corner. Sorry, Sin's Quarter. My bad. I know, Baron. Why didn't you correct me? Come on, man.
You did give me a chance.
Whoa.
You did fast. I was just about to go. I think that's Sins, but you were able to bounce back fast, and I'm impressed. You're getting better. You're getting better.
Well. Speaking of bouncing back, how are we going to bounce back from the season finale of Beverly Hills 414? Well, TCATC's got a new story for us, so let's find out.
Hope it involves strip churches.
You always hope that it involves strip searches.
Mm-hmm. Are midgets trying to solve equations on top of a chalkboard?
Previously on Beverly Hills 414. Why don't you go ahead and read this part, Baron, since it involves you?
Oh, okay. Me. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Baron had questions, the kind of questions that required him to go tap into a vat and grand source of knowledge. Thankfully, his library card was still up to date. Actually, I don't know if it is. Her name tag said Aubrey, and as he approached the information desk at the library, she looked at him over her glasses in a way only librarian witches can, that make you feel like a 3-year-old. Well, intellectual guy. I can help you, she said, and turned as Baron started. Yes, you see, this may sound strange. Wait, did you say you could help me? The woman simply nodded and turned back. She simply handed him an index card with several numbers on it. He blinked. If you already know, he began, and she rolled her eyes. And deny you the joy of research? Pish! It was nearly an hour later when he found the information he was looking for, as well as a nice recipe for beer-battered fish. Beer-battered fish. Oh. Information upon the golden comb of Sif. Getting a little Nordic here. He nearly heard himself keeping from gasping too loud. If this information was correct, and he had to believe it was, he was embroiled with a perilous situation. Vaginmancers. Vaginmancers? What? Okay.
Interesting, Steve. Interesting.
Yeah, Vaginman. Okay.
I don't know where he's going with this story.
I'm already scared. Crypto had been itchy all day. These people. And one of those days where you feel that somewhere someone is paying full price for a Danish that is over an hour old and not demanding a discount, like I do all the time when I go to the Publix. Our
And
whole
Cash,
food.
Cash is watching this right now, going, "You goober."
Mhm. When it happened, oh, you know what? If I'm going to be doing this, I got to do this right. There we go. When it
And I'm gonna
happened,
change the music.
Okay. Oh, ooh, I like that. When it happened fast. That sense of unease began almost a second before his phone chimed, indicating more than $2 had been spent with his card. Then another, and another. I hate that. Somehow his bank account was being whittled away with 1,000 minor charges like a death of 1,000 cuts. And every time he tried to cancel the charge, it wouldn't work. And that really grinds my gears. His bank card was still inside his backup, extra hidden wallet. He could tell by the way it pressed against his ass. It feels so good too when it does that. The proper, perfect thickness in a way.
God.
I have to do that because I go down to Fullerton a lot, and I have to make sure I don't lose my wallet. He threw on his coat to head out the door so he could try and stop this at the source, his local bank branch in Fullerton. As he flung open the door, he saw himself. It was like a mirror, but not. Yeah.
You know what? Barrett, you're doing such a good job. Let's continue.
Oh, okay. I don't know how to do this voice. Mike was in
come
high
on.
spirits.
Just give it a little bit more of a high pitch.
High pitch, like this, something like that, like
A
Like
little too
Harvey?
high, Baron. A little too high.
a little too high. How about this?
That works.
Okay. Or how about this? Like, I'll do it like a wrestler, like Mean Gene Oakron. Mike was in a high spirits. He was showered. He had shaved. He had a nicely healthy breakfast. Everything was starting out well. Even when he heard the metal crunch, he didn't think it was for him. He looked out the window and he saw a Macho Man. Oh, no, sorry. He saw what looked like some Toyota Prius which had torn its front off. But it had done this by hitting his Corvette. Not again, he sighed. 5 missed calls from Baron. He probably was going to brag about those blondes he had been with on New Year's Eve again. Really? I like it. Wow. He called the tow truck in Bill's Exotic Auto Service. Sorry, Bill's Exotic.
It's all right. It's all right.
Looks like he had to go back to driving the Porsche again for the immediate future. Though, on the plus side, maybe he could get his vet detailed and the stink of hippie out of it, and John Cena as well. Can Baron standing? Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Can Baron stand against the ancient powers of Vagimancy or whatever Space concocted there?
Vagimancy. Yeah, I think that's what it's Vagimancy.
The power from the dawn of civilization, whose practitioners stare into and manipulate the blue crystal balls for power. Oh no.
I didn't know blue balls had power. Oh, okay.
I didn't know they had power either, Baron.
Yeah.
Who is Crypto looking at? And why is this person wearing Crypto's face? Is his chin really this big? Yes, it's even bigger in person.
Yeah.
Maybe if he's lucky, Bill will go after this dummy or duplicate. Sorry, even Cash isn't that lucky.
No.
What is Mike going to do now that he has to drive the Porsche once again? I ain't complaining. Maybe he'll have to file an accident report with Officer Hot Pants again. Maybe. Let's hope so.
There we go.
Find out all this and more as Beverly Hills 414 continues after these messages. Steve, on a serious note, where are you taking the story? Come on, inquiring minds want to know.
Oh, let's be surprised.
Oh, you're going to go that route on us. Okay, Barrett. All right.
Yeah.
And Connie says hello. Hello to you, Connie.
Oh, Connie.
Let's see. I am looking through to see if we have anybody else, and we do. We have the Orca Boy himself, Lord Crit of Everest Productions.
He came swimming in.
Good to see you, Crit. Hope you're feeling better too, brother. Everyone has been getting sick.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Cash got sick, then he passed it to Crit, and I'm surprised I haven't gotten it yet.
And we also have Killy Chow. Good to see you, Killy Chow. Roll Tide, brother. So, Steven.
Yes, sir.
As our esteemed guest this evening, please tell us how you got involved with YouTube.
Who's your daddy? What does he do for a living?
That's actually not too far off. My father and his was ill in his later years. So, I was kind of sticking closer to home, because, not that he couldn't take care of himself. I didn't want him to be by himself if anything happened. And it was kind of right around that time that I started paying attention to YouTube, because I was unhappy, with what I was seeing in on broadcast television and in film at the time. So I was looking into YouTube, and I started off watching a lot of these kind of reaction channels.
Mm-hmm.
And I found a couple that were watching Person of Interest, which was this show on CBS that ran for 5 years that I was a big fan of.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of like my entryway. Is fine, yay, some people who like the same things that I do. Great, okay. And this little channel kept popping up on my queue called Midnight's Edge.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why are you not watching Midnight's Edge? I'll get to it. Watch Midnight's Edge. Oh, okay. And hello, Das Wolfen. This was around the time of Trank Gate and Fan Four Stick.
Okay.
And they were doing those videos. And I'm listening to this and thinking, this is no way to run a railroad. There's no way that they are bollocksing up a Fantastic Four movie this badly. And then I saw the final film and realized, yes, they could mess it up that badly. So, I that was kind of like my my gateway to where I am now was Midnight's Edge, and I started, hanging out in the chats and getting to know people and finding out about these other channels. And Jesse Miller, who was at that point was affiliated with Midnight's Edge. He has Black Death Gaming now, which is a gaming channel.
Okay.
And he was doing this thing where he was taking unproduced screenplays and doing them as like a radio show. type of thing, where he would bring a number of people on to kind of fill out the cast of characters. And he had the 1983 Tom Mankiewicz Batman script, which eventually evolved into Batman 89.
Okay.
And I had the chance. He brought me on to. Says, "Why don't you come on and like play Robin?" Because Robin gets shoehorned into like the third act of it, and I play a couple of other bit characters along the way. And it was through that broadcast that I got to meet Gary from Pop Culture Minefield, and I also met a fellow in the UK named Matt Allen.
Mm-hmm.
And it was after that that Gary says, you have a voice. You should. He was like encouraging me. You should start doing your own videos, essentially. And at that point, I was like, I don't know if anybody was really interested in anything that I would say. But I thought about it. I had that thought in the back of my mind. And a little while later, Matt was doing this show called Saturday Serial. And eventually, he gave me a blue wrench, and that was the first time I ever modded a chat.
Okay. Because
And,
that is something that you do, not just for, channels like Netters Network or Last Call with Troy Pacelli, but you're also on other channels as their moderator. I gotta say, you are one of the fastest moderators I've ever met.
I'm faster when I'm on my phone than I am on a computer. So, if I'm fast, that's good. Anyway, I started modding for Matt's show, which was pretty easy because, the group watching his show is pretty chill for the most part. Every once in a while, somebody would come on and try and troll us. But, at the time, really the most you had to do was, can I say porn bot?
You can say whatever you want, brother.
Okay.
I don't restrict people.
Yeah. The best thing, the one thing to do is basically to kind of knock all the bots down, because we were just getting inundated with bots at that time. And that was really the most that I ever had to do. And then Matt decided one week to bring me on and come on and guest host the show that week. And I said, sure, thanks, and so I guest hosted for a few weeks, and he said, would you like to do it permanently? And that kind of that got me started, and I began to meet more people from other channels, and they started bringing me on. First during member chats with some channels, and then other channel, and then after that, people got to know me, and started kind of bringing me on as a guest. And it just kind of went from there. And I started out posting shorts. And I know not a lot of people, I know that not everybody enjoys the shorts, but it reminded me of when I used to be on this other platform that I'm blanking out on the name of right now. I don't think they exist anymore. There was this, there was an app where you could do film and television reviews. You could shoot like these little 45-second clips. So I just took what I was doing on that app and applied it to YouTube. And that's when I started out doing shorts. As you can see there, on occasion I still do one, but I gained a bit of a following doing those, and that's when I decided to move on and start doing more live streams. As you can
Nice.
see, here's a few of the yeah.
And one question I do have for you: when you were doing that, live radio show, even though it was on YouTube, and then
Mhm.
also being invited to host a stream of your own, were you nervous at all?
Oh yes, especially when I was when I started guest hosting with Matt, because it's like I didn't want to say or do anything that would risk bringing his channel down, or kind of, we like you, but get rid of that deleted guy. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So, but no, it wasn't like that. And I got to know, the people in his chat. Some of who follow me now. So and still show up in chats to this day.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do get nervous because I have this case of the terminal shies. Public speaking is not my forte, but the more I do it, the more comfortable I begin to get.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get stalkers like my friend Lady V there, who I call my stalker as a joke. But yeah, I began to gain this following, and they stuck by me, and that's what encourages me to go on.
Very nice.
Well, we got our own
And
stalker. It's Phil McCracken.
and since you've been doing streams with other creators, has it helped inspire you to not just do your content, but do it in your own particular style?
Oh, absolutely. Because there's not a whole lot of method to my particular brand of madness. Um, the movie reviews that I do are pretty much inspired by what Brad Jones and the Stoned Gremlin Productions guys used to do. My show, The Other Side of Midnight, it's very much coast to coast, Art Bell inspired. I don't cover the same subjects that he did, obviously, but I used to, because I used to be in something of an insomniac, and so I would stay up and listen to his show. And I thought, again, if I could apply something like that to YouTube, maybe I could turn it into something. And and then people would agree to come on with me, and and now we've reached 30 some odd episodes with that show, and people keep coming back. So if people keep coming back, I'll keep doing the shows, and but the show that came first really was the show that I do called Unscripted.
Mm-hmm.
And which is basically exactly that. I pick a topic to talk about, and then I essentially rant about it for an hour. And that's when that's when kind of I get spicy. The claws come out a little bit, and whereas that's kind of my rant fest. The Other Side of Midnight's more of a chill stream.
And Baron, do you have any questions you'd like to ask our guest?
Well, I was just going to say that how you talk about how each one of your shows is a little bit different there. Do you find that
Mhm.
people are surprised? Like, they'll hear you on the other side of midnight. Then they'll hear your spicy stream. It's like, whoa, who put a quarter in him type of thing. Because I
Uh,
know when I did mine, people were always surprised that,
mhm.
well, you're so reserved. You let me talk. I'm so sorry for talking. No, I want you to talk. But they're so used to me being like with Gary and all that outrageous and such. Do you find that?
Mhm. Especially with unscripted, because that's usually when the four-letter words come out a little bit more. And I try to tamp that back a bit, but every once in a while, people say, "We listened to that show the other night, and we're really surprised because you said some bad words," and I'm like, "Yeah, you know." I did because I heard the comments from um, the boy from Collider, and who shall go nameless, and I kind of went off a little bit, and whenever I feel passionate about something, and that's usually when it comes out. But I try to be careful with what I say, but sometimes I'm not always as careful. Um,
Mhm.
and when because when I started out on YouTube, it was I don't want to say it was a little more like the Wild West,
Mhm.
but it was a little more like the Wild West, And I was
Mhm.
going because I was going back and forth from different sort of shows, Um, I went from shows that were like a little bit more planned out. There was a format,
Mhm.
that you could stick to. And then there were these other shows that would just let everything hang out.
Mhm.
Say whatever, we're not going to censor you. Not that anybody ever censors me, but
Mhm.
you kind of got the idea where it was like you kind of had to pull back on some things on some channels. And then there would be
Mhm.
other channels, especially the ones that were maybe a little bit later at night, that would you could kind of you know you could just say whatever and go off and nobody would mind. um
Mhm.
so I kind of got a taste of both sides of it, and so I figured that if I just had an hour, or whatever, um come on, say how I really feel about something, and then have kind of like the later show, the chill stream, where everybody can just we can relax and we can just talk about whatever. And
Yeah.
that was my way of letting the people who would allow me to come on their shows and speak. That was be my opportunity to allow those people to come on, and maybe they say something, or they have some subject that they want to talk about that maybe they wouldn't ordinarily broach on their own channels.
Mhm.
So that's kind of so yeah, ultimately, yeah, things are different from one show or another, and people are surprised if I um throw certain words out that they're not used to me not used to hearing from me. um But no, I don't really try to censor myself at all. I just, when I am on somebody else's show, I just try to be a little bit more careful, because I don't want to say something
And
that gets.
and that's understandable because you go to a different YouTube channel, uh, you kind of look at it like this. At least I know I do. It's their house, their rules.
Mhm.
Right.
And if you've never watched their show before and you've been invited to go on their channel, one thing that I know a lot of us try to do is say, okay, what are their house rules?
Mhm.
Mhm.
What can I say? What can't I say?
Right.
Right.
Besides our Bill, as you said, with kind of inspiration. And actually, it sounds more like when Larry King was actually good, and he had his overnight show, which was kind of a show stream. Bring guests and talk about stuff. And of course, you mentioned others. Who do you think are some of your bigger influences? Not that you're copying them, but that help influence you on how you do your programs.
Well, that's something that I'm glad you brought that up, because it is something that I'm always kind of afraid of, that I'm like, unwittingly copying someone else. So that's something I always do my best to avoid as much as possible. If I had any real inspirations, I mean, one of my other inspirations for The Other Side of Midnight is Culture Casino. Because it's especially with his late night casino show, which I don't get to see live anymore because unfortunately I'm kind of up against him. In a friendly way. I don't look at it as a competition. And also his pre-flight show that he does on Friday. That's kind of a direct inspiration for sure. For that show, it's probably the main one. But everybody I'm on with it inspires me in some way. Either for how I carry myself on a certain show, or how I go about maybe formatting a show, or because I always go into this whole thing where I say I'm flying by the seat of my pants and there is no quote unquote format. But there is, and unscripted is the one that is actually the most formatted, which is ironic for the title that I've given it, because that whole thing was just, I have this hour that's kind of sandwiched between two other shows now, and just come out, do this stream of consciousness, and be gone. It's kind of like Pump Up the Volume, the Christian Slater movie. It's kind of partially that too, in a lot of ways. Where I can just, sometimes he's on for 5 minutes, sometimes he's on for 5 hours. But so that was kind of an inspiration too. But kind of lost my train of thought there. But anyway, there are inspirations, and I get these little bits and pieces from, other channels that I followed early on, or people that I've gotten to know. And as I'm watching how they do their show, that kind of informs how I do mine. And but yeah, while it looks like there's not a structure, there is. So and that's really what
yeah, and that's kind of an important thing. If you're able to make it look like you don't have a structure, and you actually do, what a way to the professionalism behind that, because it's hard to do that. You have to be actually very structured, very skilled to do that, and a lot of people don't understand it. And sometimes the more unstructured a show looks like, the more structured it really, really is.
Yeah, I'll give a perfect example. I, told Bear and some of the folks that joined us Sunday that anytime I put two subjects into the title of the video, especially for a live stream, and we're talking about an article here on Pop Talk, know that at some point we're going to talk about those articles. They're not going to be skipped over. There's a point to putting two subjects into that title. It's because at some point we are going to get to it.
Mhm.
And when it comes to collabing with other YouTubers, has that gone pretty well for you? Because I know that you do collaborations with Netters at Work, Age
Mhm.
Boomer, and also Troy Pacelli.
Right. And that's a show called Live from Sparkwood in 21, and it is a retrospective of the Twin Peaks television series, and also all of the multimedia that surrounded it, because there's also a feature film. There are a number of books, and there are also other movies that are kind of offshoots from that are like same universe. So there's a lot
Mhm.
to sink your teeth into. And I have been on Troy's show a number of times, and I actually met him through Paulie Latino Slant, and
Okay.
and I realized, hey, okay, Troy's got this show. I started watching the show, eventually became a mod, and eventually wound up as a guest. And I've been on a number of times now. In fact, I'm going to be on again Friday night. And in talking, we realized, we had this love of David Lynch films, and in particular the Twin Peaks series.
Okay.
And we'd been talking about it for a while, doing like a retrospective type series. And at first I thought he just meant, oh, okay, we're going to come on and we're going to do an episode of his Friday Night Last Call show about it. However, Troy had other plans, and during
He
the
bait
course,
switched on you. He did
he
a
he
bait and switch. I tell
he
you.
he did, and
Yeah. Aren't they horrible to work with? I mean, they're just hard to work with. They're just like taskmasters.
yeah, and so what I thought was going to be this kind of one-off David Lynch retrospective show became, well, let's do a show about Twin Peaks. And so I said, okay, I agreed to it. And, we planned some things out ahead of time. Again, a format, a structure. And it just went from there. And we're in season 2 of the show now. The episode that we did last week, which you have up on the screen here, is so far
Mhm.
the most watched. So I'm happy once again that people are enjoying the show, because that was my concern, was how many people past the 4 of us were really going to care and really get into it.
Mhm.
But I've come to realize, as the show's continued, that not only you know are we bringing in people who were fans of the show as much as we were, or 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 viewers that haven't seen it since it first aired, and the fact that, and what I'm most proud of is the new people that we're bringing to it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And
you know
isn't that something that just makes you feel good knowing that not only are you letting older fans talk about a series or even a movie that you've all
Mhm.
enjoyed, but also introducing people who've never watched the series to it and they're actually enjoying it.
Mhm.
Right, yeah, I mean, that's, like I said, it is that positive feedback, that inspires me to continue and to go on with a program like this. Again, a show that I thought would be very niche, small viewership, but it's blown up.
Yeah, I mean, I would have
And
thought
it's
so.
great.
Yeah, I would have thought so. It's like, okay, he's David Lynch. He's an acquired taste. The show only went so long. The second season, people didn't necessarily like so much. All that sort of stuff. But boom, it still seems. I mean, I don't even know how the reboot show or the continuation show did out there. But yeah, to bring people in, it's kind of what this is all about. Sharing with people what we love and introducing it to other people. And it's great that you and Troy and Knitter and Age Boomer do that with that. It takes love and passion.
It does. It does.
It certainly does, because if we don't share what we love on this platform or other platforms, then how are others supposed to know about it?
I mean, how did you feel about the revival series when it came out?
That's the interesting thing. I don't have Showtime.
Okay.
So I haven't seen the revival series. So when we get to it, when we get to that point, it's going to be a first watch. So we're now going to have that element to it. Is, they have the whole story because they've all seen it. So they know what's coming. I don't. So I'm having to go back, and because I have my own theories about where season 3 is going to go, because season 2 ends in a cliffhanger. And it's a cliffhanger that I'm now 30 years plus away from, and I still don't have all the answers. So it's the fun of it for me is, I have my own theories of where the story is going to go, and it's David Lynch, so it's not going to be an A to B to C. It's not going to be a straight line. There's going to be detours, and you might not get all the answers that you're looking for. And I know I'm not, even my own theories don't explain everything, and I'm not sure I really want them to either. But
that mystery is nice.
It's nice to have that mystery. Yeah, I equated me and Troy being such fans of the show that we are, and going into the minutia that we go into, is we're kind of like Ed Harris in Westworld.
Okay.
We're the gamer that has to play every level, that has to find every Easter egg. I mean, that's the way I looked at that character, that Man in Black character. He's the gamer that has to, he has to play all the games. He has to play all the levels. He's got to try every possible iteration, and because he's looking for some big answer that he's never going to get. And I kind of think I'm kind of the same way when it comes to Twin Peaks. I'm not going to get all the answers, but I won't be disappointed if I don't.
It's a journey,
because there's still just a little bit of that mystery, and it's a show that goes into some Lovecraftian type scenarios. We are told in the show that there's something mysterious in the woods. Something something ancient that's kind of out there, that's pulling the strings a little bit, and in season 3, from what little bit I do know about it, they do play up that Lovecraftian angle more in a way that the ABC episodes didn't back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely looking forward to that. You know, you have, there's mysteries to solve, but the show's not really about the mystery. You know, it's about the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what it's about.
Yeah, very,
really.
very atmospheric. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it'll be exciting for you to be able to watch this with virgin eyes and give
is.
a, basically that firsthand account discussion about that.
Mhm.
So now, of course, like you said, you like David Lynch and all that. So what's your favorite David Lynch film, and why is it Dune?
I actually do like his version of Dune because it was my gateway into that world. I went into Dune blind. I knew nothing about it. I saw it back in the theaters at the day, back at a theater called the Fox Theater, which unfortunately is no more. And that was kind of like the cool movie theater to go to. That's where they had the midnight showings of Rocky Horror Picture Show, where people would get dressed up as the characters and do that whole 9 yards. Godzilla triple features, the older Disney animated movies, the good ones.
Mhm.
They showed Apocalypse Now there for so long that they painted a mural of the film's poster up on the side of the building.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so it was that kind of place. It showed Evil Dead. They had Wes Craven movies. I saw my first R-rated movie there, DC Cab.
Oh.
It was not the first R-rated movie I saw. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Know what I mean? But it was the first one I saw in a theater, and people know that I went. So it was a cool place to go, and that's where I saw Dune. And all I knew about it going in was everybody was comparing it to Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And then you watch that movie for just a few minutes and you go, no, this is not Star Wars. This is something else. And you say, yeah, and that was at a time when I didn't really pay attention to like who directed a movie or necessarily who was acting in it. Every once in a while there'll be a face I'll recognize and okay, hey, it's that guy. But it was not the first David Lynch movie I had seen. That was
the first
actually
one?
The Elephant Man.
Yep.
Right. But I didn't make, because like I said, I didn't pay attention to who directed a movie at the time, so I didn't make the connection that, okay, same director. But then that's when I started to kind of pay attention more to that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be my follow-up question. What got you to pay a little bit more attention to not only who's directing the movie, but who's starring the movie, and even who's writing the screenplay?
Well, yeah, we just go ahead.
And that's something that at some point all of us who cover pop culture and entertainment in some fashion or another, at some point we do start paying attention to the names associated with the films or television shows.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Well, it was kind of around that time that I started paying attention because I was kind of I was a weird kid, whenever they would say, whenever somebody would make the mistake of allowing me to pick the movie, you know, um, like, I want to go see Gandhi. I'm 9.
Mhm.
And I want to go see this 3 hour and 15-minute biopic, you know, age
Mhm.
9. Again, weird kid, you know. What do you want to go see? I want to go see Amadeus.
Well, to be fair, that
You
was a
know,
huge hit. Everybody wanted to
yeah,
see that.
Mhm.
I remember all the high
yeah,
school kids were going nuts over that
mm,
when that movie came out.
yeah. But, you know, I didn't, you know, I knew it was a movie. I didn't know it was a stage play first, was the
Mhm.
thing, you know, let alone that Mark Hamill was in it, you know, because of course I knew who he was, Luke Skywalker. Okay, you
Yeah.
know, and why isn't he in the movie? you know, um, so I guess that's kind of when I started paying attention, you know, and then that's also when you kind of start paying attention to misconceptions that people might have about certain movies.
Mhm.
Like, I went to go see The Right Stuff.
Mhm.
At again another theater that unfortunately is no more, the Terrace. And the Terrace was this single screen, widescreen, 70 millimeter, you know, screen.
Paradise.
And yeah. And you know, and 1 week I went to go see The Right Stuff.
Mhm.
Now, at that point in time, John Glenn was running for president.
Mhm.
And so there were people who were thinking, okay, this movie is his political highlight reel.
Mhm.
Again, a misconception. It wasn't just about him. It was about, you know, the all of the Mercury 7 astronauts. And yeah, some of them get more screen time than others.
Mhm.
But really, it's about all of them. And really, in the end, it's not about any of them even. It's about Yeager.
Mhm.
And Sam Shepard, to this day, I still say got ripped off of an Oscar. He should have won that year. And I kind of gravitated to him watching the movie more than anything else. But the point I was trying to make originally about misconceptions was that when my dad drove, because my dad drove us there, and by then he kind of like quit going to movies. He didn't like going to the theaters to see movies anymore.
Mhm.
And he dropped me and my mom off, and he went, "It's that goddamn political movie, you know. Have fun, kid, you know."
Mhm.
You know, because I knew who John Glenn was,
Mhm.
and there were even news stories, you know, of people saying it's basically the John Glenn story. It's not
Yep.
at all, you know. Um, but you know, so that's when it kind of hit me that, you know, you can't judge a book by its cover. You actually have to go and see. You got to watch,
Yeah.
you know, before you have any preconceived notions, because you're going to miss something that's going to surprise you.
Mhm.
You
So
do,
yeah,
because
it was
there's a
kind of,
recent movie that I went and saw. And, some might go, "Oh, it's about wrestling." Yes, that's part of the story,
Mhm,
but some people might shun it because of that. But it's The Iron Claw, which is a very good movie.
mhm,
It's about the Von Erichs, who were a prominent, especially in Texas, wrestling family, and Zac Efron's the star of it. Now,
mhm,
Zac Efron can get the girls to come see a movie. And you think, oh, he was part of that High School Musical. He probably can't act that well. No, he can act very well.
mhm.
And that's a misconception about him, is that he can't act. No, he can. give him the right role, the right script, he can.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
Or people say the same thing about Robert Patrick for doing the Batman. It's like everyone associates him with sparkly vampires.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Batman was a movie that I had issues with personally, but
Oh, yeah.
I think Pattinson is better when he's in independent features.
Pattinson.
You
That's
know,
the thing.
yeah, something like like The Lighthouse or like Good Time. Those movies.
Mhm.
I think he's better suited for him. I can't see him. I don't even really blame him about the Batman. The Batman was too long, number
Mhm.
one. And it kind of falls apart story wise in the second half for me.
Yeah.
But I don't blame him for that. I mean, would he have been my first choice? No. He wasn't the director of the movie's first choice. The studio wanted him. But but the point was I didn't dismiss it whole cloth. I did
Mhm.
give it its due diligence. I went to the theater. I sat down. I watched it. It was one of the first reviews I ever did, if not the first one.
Mm.
But yeah. Again, it's just a matter of personal taste.
Right.
But you can't. I'll explain it this way. Everybody had an opinion on the Barbie movie.
Mm-hmm.
You got the people that love it, you got the people that absolutely hate it. But I was starting to get into some of those discussions, and people were asking me, well, where are you on it? And I'm like, I don't know. I haven't seen it. I don't really feel comfortable kind of really talking about it in detail without
Mm-hmm.
seeing it. And I was in absolutely no mood to see it. But somebody kind of behind the scenes sent me a link, and well, here's your chance. Let us know what you think.
Mm-hmm.
So I sat down and I watched it, and very much like Batman, I was with it for the first half, and then it dies in the second half. For various reasons. But then again, I did due diligence. I sat down, I watched it, I gave it a chance, and I came up with the review for it that I did. Um,
And that comes down to forming, your own view, your own opinion, instead of being influenced by other
yeah.
people's view and opinion. It's like watching The Dial of Destiny. I knew what I was getting into when I went and saw it, but I wanted to see it for myself
Mhm.
because I want to be able to form my own opinion. And because I've been such a big fan of, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, The Last Crusade, I wanted to see if they could actually make a good Indiana Jones movie. Give
Yeah.
Indy that give Indy that Last for All, even though he already had it in Last Crusade. But give him that true Last for All, since this will be the last time we see Harrison Ford in the role.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first 15 to 20 minutes of the movie, but after that it just fell apart for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen? Have you seen the pitch meeting clip for the movie?
No, I haven't.
Ryan George. Oh, he's and he gets into the part where Mads Mikkelsen gets hit in the face with the piping or whatever, and he gets thrown off the train, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he dies, right? Oh no, he's fine. No, his face has got to be scarred or something. He got Dennis Hoppered. He's not alive anymore. Like you know, and no, he's alive and he looks remarkably well. I mean, they don't try to explain it or anything about how he got his head ripped off going at 60 miles an hour and thrown from a train. But like so many other things in that movie that doesn't get explained.
Mm-hmm.
But again, yeah, due diligence. You have to watch it. And I've I've always made it a point to say that whenever I review a movie, you don't have to agree with me.
Mm-hmm.
Just hear me out. And if I point you in the direction of something you might not have seen, because I liked it, great. But if I didn't like something and you did, that's fine too. I because I always make it a point to say, this doesn't mean don't go see it.
Mm-hmm.
Every once in a while, I'll say, like with the most recent movie I reviewed, I did vehemently say, do not go see this, left-wing piece of propaganda, but
which film was that?
On its own, nothing, but not my cup of tea. But I don't say don't go see something, I just merely say, go see it or skip it or wait for streaming. But if people go and they like it, great.
Yeah, everybody has their own taste. Everybody has their own preferences when it comes to movies, what they want to see in it, what they don't want to see in it.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't agree with somebody on their opinion of a movie or TV show, let's not get all worked up about it and have it ruin our day. There comes a point where you just move on, agree to disagree.
Mm-hmm. Right. Don't fight it out like me and Cash.
You guys don't fight it out.
I know we don't. But I'm gonna open a good old fish here. Of course, we mentioned before. Oh, why do I still have his face up there? Doggone it! I'm not giving them free advertising. What the hell am I doing? You brought up David Lynch. We talked about David Lynch earlier. Now we were talking about Harrison Ford film. Looking back at it now, what do you think? Do you think David Lynch did the right thing in turning down Return of the Jedi and going to do Dune instead? Or do you think that Star Wars missed out on something with him not directing
it? Well, I think
I got the hard question.
I think no, because I have thought about this because it would have been a different movie. Mm-hmm. For sure. But I don't think it would have been that much different. I think David Lynch turned down directing Return of the Jedi for the same reason Leonardo DiCaprio turned down playing Anakin. Mm-hmm. It's still Star Wars. People are going to go see it whether David Lynch directs it or DiCaprio stars in it or not. It really doesn't matter. It's the brand that matters when it comes to Star Wars. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, that brand has been tarnished.
Right.
And I believe now deliberately so. Mm-hmm. And that's the sad
absolutely.
thing. But in the end, do I think Star Wars missed out not having David Lynch direct a movie? Yes. On the other hand, I don't know if it would have changed anything without going into some alternate universe where he did make the movie. There's just really no way of knowing. But I tell you, that movie wouldn't have been boring.
No.
And it's
No,
a
not
movie
at
that
all.
it's a movie that I look back on now and I think it's kind of boring
Oh, okay.
in places. But and I'm re-examining Star Wars now in my mind.
Mhm.
Kind of based on where it's ultimately gone. And I look at the Star Wars franchise now, and I know this is going to be a hot take.
Mhm.
Is that Star Wars was two outstanding movies and one movie that was just good.
Mhm.
And it ends there. The rest of it to me is fan fiction now.
Okay.
And that's something that I've kind of hit on recently. Because, kind of getting into the darker side of what YouTube can turn into. And and there were, I'm hearing backstage from people, screw your OT. And these are people who are claiming to be lifelong fans.
Mhm.
It's like, no, you can't say screw the OT. The OT is the wellspring. That's where it all comes from. You have to respect the lore that George Lucas set out.
Mm-hmm.
And they have gone so far away from that now, and they have now been encouraged by Hills and by people who have this wrong-headed thinking that if you don't watch the Star Wars we're being given now, we will lose Star Wars. No, we're not going to lose Star Wars. We're just going to lose Disney Star Wars. And that's not the
Mhm.
same thing.
Exactly, because the Star Wars under George Lucas is still there.
Yes.
Mhm. The EU is still there. None of that's gone away. The mouse isn't that powerful.
No.
At all. And yeah, I mean, before the trilogy, the prequel trilogy came out, your assessment is exactly how people assess the original trilogy. Two great films and one good film. But I have to sit back and say, you're not a Star Wars fan if you say screw the OT. You're not. I mean,
because
I will be so bold to say that.
No, just like you're not a Star Trek fan if you dismiss the original series.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because they haven't ruined the original series for me.
No.
Yet. They would like to.
Oh yeah. They're working hard.
They're working very hard on it. I mean, when you're seeing poster art for a Star Trek anniversary and nobody from the original series is on it, you got a problem.
Mm-hmm. It's a complete and total lack of respect. Without the original series, without William Shatner's James T. Kirk, none of the other series, not even the Kelvin movies, nor the other captains would exist.
Right.
Agreed.
And yeah, and the only one who's really making it hard to watch one of the old series is Patrick Stewart and gang with what they did with Picard. It's like it really starts getting hard to watch Next Generation after what they did to the characters, and then they have to open their mouths up and say stupid things. That doesn't help matters much either.
Yeah, that was that was where I parted ways with the Next Generation show. It wasn't anything that was in Picard. Well, okay. Here's the story there. I've only seen the first 3 episodes of Picard.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I saw that was because there were some YouTubers who were talking about, doing a reaction show, a watch party reaction show. And we were going to record it, and it was going to air later.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody's wondering, but Steve, what happened to that show? How come we haven't seen it? That's because nobody made it past episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
I was prepared to go the whole season with it. And one other person was prepared to go the whole season, but everybody else, we kind of got outvoted. I said, nope, we're done. We're not watching it past this. But I have to tell you, in those 3 episodes that I saw, there was nothing in there that said Star Trek to me.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't that a shame when it comes to well-known properties like Star Trek, Star Wars, Doctor Who, you name it, where you're watching something and you don't even see a little hint, a little glimmer of what makes that particular franchise what it is.
Mm-hmm. The hope.
Mm-hmm. I'm sitting here, I'm watching this show, and again, as we brought up earlier in the show, I'm not a lily-livered when it comes to language or depictions of violence on screen, But when you're watching, now at this point, Admiral Jean-Luc Picard, and everybody's talking down to him, and he's apologizing a lot of the time, he went back to the Vineyard, which is fine. Okay, he retired to the Vineyard, so what? That's fine. But he's got like these house Romulans. That would never have been a thing. And he has other he's got other admirals like telling him to fuck off, like he's the janitor.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is happening? And when did we start swearing in Star Trek? When did that happen?
Yeah, there are a few swear words here and there in episodes.
Oh, sure.
But it was needed, but it wasn't like in Generations when Picard's trying to convince Kirk to come with him out of the Nexus to Soren, where Kirk says, I don't need to be lectured by you. I was out there saving the galaxy when your grandfather was still in diapers.
Yeah. I mean, that's you expect that from Kirk, but not the I'm sorry show. But when you had Leonard McCoy go that green-blooded son of a bitch, which was some of the harshest words you heard at the time. Well, that was completely acceptable because you believe that's exactly what McCoy would say. Are double dumbass on you because they're trying to fit in with the 20th century Earth. When Data goes, our Data goes shit. Shit as the Enterprise.
That was funny. I laughed at that. That was
yeah. Again,
I mean, let's put it into context too for that particular scene in Generations. Data has the emotion chip in him, and he's seeing this planet coming towards them on the view screen. What would your reaction be?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It fit. But to have the admirals drop the F-bomb on Picard like that, no, there is no context.
No.
Especially a man who probably logged in more star hours than that hoity-toity sitting in that chair.
Mm-hmm.
Tell him to do that.
I mean, it's a damn shame to see what's happened to Star Trek under Kurtzman and company when you compare it to how Rick Berman and Michael Piller and Jerry Taylor tried to keep Gene Roddenberry's legacy alive by respecting it. Yeah, they did bend the rules. I'm not going to say they didn't, but they still respected what Gene Roddenberry created. They didn't have a scene where somebody's mopping something up and the janitor's name is called Gene.
Right. And yeah, mopping up a crewman that got bursted and then being, insulting, the being a whatever, then calling him a Gene. It's like, yeah, where the hell did this come from? I mean, we had conflict between characters, but in Star Trek, and that was, obviously the Kirk and but the McCoy Spock debates and such. But that's exactly it. It was something that that the discussing back and forth, and Kirk was taking both sides in and using that to make a judgment on. It was important,
because that's why they made such a great team. Because you had Spock, who was the logic, McCoy, who was the emotion, and then Kirk having to find that middle ground between the two.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why that works so well. And unfortunately, ever since then, we've never had anything really like that.
Mm-hmm. No, we haven't. We haven't had the brotherhood, as I like to describe it, between Kirk, Spock, and McCoy the same way ever since, because even in Next Generation, it's mainly about Riker and Picard and Data, but it's not to the same degree as the triumvirate of Kirk, Spock, and McCoy.
Well, because it became too much of an ensemble show where everybody's got to have their moment in the sun, and it's like, well, that wasn't what Star Trek was. It was Kirk, and then Spock, and then McCoy got involved. And everybody else was a secondary character. I'm sorry, Walter and George, but that what you guys were, and not taking away your impact on the show. Obviously, it's lasted for how many years, but it wasn't your guys' show. And being able to focus on Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, you were able to get that, which you couldn't get in the other shows.
That's true, and as you've mentioned before, had the original series gone on for a fourth season, James Doohan would have been added to the main title sequence because of how popular and how much of an impact Scotty made on the series.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And we're talking about science fiction right now. Is there your particular favorite style of science fiction that you like to watch or even read?
Well, I've been of late, and I kind of went away from this because I used to read quite a bit, and then real life kind of intruded, and I kind of had to put all of that aside. But I was reading this series called the Murderbot Diaries.
Okay.
And I don't know if you're how familiar with that you are or not.
I haven't even heard about it.
But color me intrigued.
Okay. Basically, what it is you have this character who's kind of like he's like a service robot. They're just he's a piece of equipment basically, and he becomes self-aware, and he's hiding the fact that he's now self-aware. And so his his interactions with whatever crew he is working with begins to change. Because he's essentially there to like protect the human characters and take the first hit, basically, right? Because what does it matter? You're a robot. We'll just get another one.
Right.
But in his mind, it becomes, yeah, I'll do that maybe. It's like, I will do my job, but if I have to choose between me and you, I'm going to choose me. He kind of just, it's like
self-preservation.
Yeah, and it becomes like it's almost like, I don't want to say Dexter because it's not the same thing, but it's the way that Dexter kind of faked his way through certain situations to kind of make everybody think he's just like this normal guy. Well, that's what this robot starts doing. It's an act. I will look like I'm doing my job. In the meantime, I am plotting your demise, and I'm going to go off and find my maker, so to speak. So he kind of gets into these kind of series of adventures, and as he's doing that, he is learning what it is essentially like to be human. He doesn't like humans very much, but he keeps, in the end, he keeps doing the human thing. And that's what makes it interesting. It's like, I hate humans. And then your question to him would be like, if you hate humans so much, then why do you always do the right thing at the end? And that's where the humanity of the character comes in. It's essentially this robot learning how to be human, but he's going to be a bit of an asshole about it. It's actually it's really funny. And I've only read the first couple of books. I don't know where it ultimately goes. I got to catch up, but it's intriguing, And he, where I left off in the series is he gets kidnapped by this other robot. And he's recognizing that this robot is going down the same road that he almost did. It's like, okay, look, pal, I'm gonna tell you what I tell these humans. I'm gonna play along, but only up to a point. So it's like, okay, so you're the new asshole model that they're putting out. Okay, whatever. I've heard, I know your shtick because it's my shtick. I get it. But
I've seen this same game plan before because it's out of my own playbook.
Right.
Been there, done that. All that fun stuff.
And
that's
definitely sounds like a good series.
Yeah, Murderbot, you said it's called?
The Murderbot Diaries, yeah.
Oh. Like I said, got me intrigued. Is it a newer series or?
I think they're like 7 or 8 books in now, so it's kind of been around a little while now. Yeah.
Okay, who's the author? Do you know?
Martha Wells.
Martha Wells. Okay. That way I can look that up when I go to the El Boco store. Martha Wells. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking it up right now.
I'm not doubting that. He does that at times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like that. And It's like I watch more science fiction than I actually read, but I want to read more science fiction, and especially the classics.
Mhm.
Or the series that kind of go farther back. That 70s rock fan brought up the Lensman series,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
I managed to find a few of them, so I want to sit down and read them this year.
yeah. The a publishing outfit called Old Earth Books did basically facsimiles of the original ones, which I have in my collection, and that it's just
Uh,
beautiful to read because they have like the
mhm,
lithographs in there, and it's like wow, it's like it's like wow, it's like you're going back in time and reading it for, like when they first came out.
mhm.
But I have to tell you, the first one, Triplanetary, is a bit of a chore to get through.
Yeah.
I'm not going to deny that.
Ah,
How about
Martha.
Foundation? Have
yep.
you?
You have found
Oh,
it.
mhm.
Yep. Martha
Oh,
Wells is the author. I'm
Mhm.
definitely going to check it out.
yeah, definitely. That's the third book of seven. Okay. Hmm.
Mhm.
Now, how about like Foundation? The Foundation
I,
series by
I,
Asimov.
I would like to read that. I haven't,
Hmm.
and I'm sorry to say that I haven't. Um,
Don't be sorry. What I would recommend is just go with the first three books. When he came back to that universe and started doing like the prequel stuff and then the follow up, like it, I think it was weaker, a lot weaker. The first three
mm,
books, uh, Foundation, Empire, and then of course Second Foundation are great, great. Oh, there we go. Look at that artificial condition. I think I know someone's going to have a purchase here soon. I Robot is another one I recommend by Asimov. I
mhm.
like to sit back and say that's a perfect book to introduce someone who wants to know what science fiction's about and not get lost in a bunch of gobbledygook.
Right. And then you watch the movie and go, "This is not the same thing
Yeah, no,
at
I
all."
refuse to see the movie. I refuse to see the movie. I
Um,
have the screenplay that Harlan Nelson did for it, the
so do
back,
I. Yeah.
and it's like this is so much better. Why, what the hell? They need to do that script, even if they do it as a miniseries. I don't care, but
Yeah, I
uh,
think it would need to be a mini series. Yeah.
mhm. We lost out. We lost out.
Well, we usually do. You know, it's that old adage. It's well, the book was better. It's usually is.
Oh yeah,
Um,
most
you
of the
know,
time, yeah, definitely.
yeah. I mean, and I don't expect perfect adaptations.
Hmm.
Because I know the difference between writing a book and writing a movie. It's not the same.
Right.
You know, when you're adapting a book to the screen, you're just going to lose things. You just are.
Hmm.
Um, I'll give you I'll give you an example.
Sure.
L.A. Confidential.
Okay.
I have read the book. I've seen the movie. I love the book. The book is great. It's one if it's not my favorite book of all time, it is damn close.
Hmm.
But if you really wanted to give that novel its due as an adaptation, you would have to do it as a miniseries
Hmm.
because there is so much going on. What they did with the movie is great. That's about as good as they could possibly have done it by putting it into, the 2 hour and 15-minute or whatever box that they had to put it in.
Mhm.
You know, where they took all of the plot lines that the three main characters were involved in, and they left out everything else.
Right.
And everything else could have made 6 other movies. To say that book is labyrinthian is taking it too lightly, because there is so much going on with all of the characters. That's another book I really recommend reading, is LA Confidential. You know, the movie takes place. That was Mulholland Falls. Gee, Stephen, how did you answer that so quickly?
That's a
Never
skin
mind.
account.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you know so much about Jennifer Connelly's filmography? I am a fan of the cinema. Anyway,
Yeah.
doesn't. But LA Confidential is this. The movie takes place over about 9 months to a year. The book takes place over 8 years.
Okay.
Exley's father is alive in the book.
Mhm.
He does die, but spoiler alert for like a 40 almost year old book. But you know, he does die, but how that happens is a different situation than how it happens in the movie. It's simplified in the movie.
Right.
In the
Which
book,
you get
Dudley
from
gets
that.
in the book, Dudley gets away with it.
Mhm.
You know, and that's where the book White Jazz comes in, because White Jazz is all about Exley going after Dudley. They basically, by ending the movie the way they did, they lost out on doing a sequel. But yeah, there's just so much going on it's got like a cast of hundreds, you know,
Mhm.
and there are all these different. There's a serial murder situation going on that's not in the movie that involves Bud. You know, everything with Exley and his dad that's in the book is not in the film. Vincennes gets married to the DA's sister. That's not in the movie. There's a lot. You know? Like I said, if they really wanted to do that upright, it would have to be a miniseries, or maybe even a series. They tried to do it as a series at one point. They did a pilot, but it didn't go. And I think if you get like the special edition DVD, then that pilot episode is into special features.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I mean,
yeah,
I know
you know,
exactly what you
so many.
mean. Like, my favorite book of all time is The Count of Monte Cristo, and
Mhm.
every time they try to adapt that to a motion picture or whatever, it's you know, how can you do this dense, rich over the many
Yeah,
years that Edmond Dantes was involved, and they missed the point what Edmond Dantes was trying to do. You know, they want to try to say it's revenge, revenge. It's more, no, it's justice he's looking for, not revenge. And the closest I found, even though they did try to throw modern French sensibilities into it, which I think ruined it, but Gerard Depardieu did a miniseries, a 4-part miniseries, and also all in French. So you have to go through the subtitles. If you don't like subtitles, well, tough, but still a good adaptation. And I think that the closest they got to putting that book out there.
Now there was a question in the chat from
Yeah.
Tree Rock Creations that I'd like to try and give an answer to. He says, I still like Rendezvous with Rama. When will it ever get a movie? Well, I don't know if this was just rumor or if this is something that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
But I had heard that Denis Villeneuve was going to direct an adaptation of that.
I heard the same thing.
That was going to be his next movie after Dune 2.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that was just rumor or if it's something that has been canceled now because of the strikes or for whatever reason. But I think we're probably closer to getting a movie than we've been.
Because they've been talking about that for years.
Yeah.
That movie. One of his Arthur C. Clarke's more famous book series after the 2000 series, 2001, 10, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one question I did want to ask you, deleted scenes, was earlier you mentioned you went and saw the original 1984 Dune in the theaters. Did you ever watch the miniseries that was on Sci-Fi?
I did.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think of the miniseries?
I liked it. Again, you have now more time to go into some of the plot strands because, like I said, that was kind of my point, and I didn't say it very well. Was when you adapt the book, especially when you're adapting it into a 2 or 3 hour movie, it's truncated. You have to leave so much out. By making Dune this 6 hour, I think it was 6 hour, right?
Yeah, 2 hours per night.
Each one, because something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 6. 6 hours, 2 hours per night because it was broken down to each part on the book. There's 3 parts. So the first night is part 1, second night was part 2, and then the third night was part 3.
So you have more time to breathe, and you can go deeper into the story, plot strands that Lynch had to leave out, and there's a lot. And even the Sci-Fi Channel version doesn't get to everything or everybody. But I looked at the Sci-Fi Channel version. To me, was always more Shakespearean in structure. I don't know if that was just me or whether anybody else got that. That's what it felt like to me. It was more. It had more of that Shakespearean vibe to it.
Thanks a lot,
But
Steve.
I like it
you're
quite a
going to
bit.
make me want to crack the thing open and watch it over again, which I've been tempted to do anyways. But now I got to go and watch it. And, okay, let's see if he's right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, it tried to get a little bit more of that richer Shakespeare.
It was always, it was always more, to me, that's how it felt. The Lynch version had all this weird kind of stuff going on. Yeah, these motifs that kind of run through all of his work. You have the Sci-Fi Channel version, which is this, like I said, more Shakespearean angle to it, whether that was intended or not. And then you have the Villeneuve movie, which is just pure entertainment without losing what made the previous versions good. That's the way I saw it.
I thoroughly enjoyed that version of the movie.
Not
that I don't enjoy the 84 movie or the miniseries, but
no, they're all good for their own reasons.
Yeah.
And Tim, FKHC 2005 in the chat says, I always wonder if Jodorowsky did Dune. He was going to, would it be remembered? I think it would be remembered for its length, for sure, because I've seen the documentary Jodorowsky's Dune, And I don't know if he had made that movie. I don't know what it would have been, but man, it wouldn't have been boring. Again, it would have been, the length of a miniseries. Because to even say it in a movie, there probably would have been like one showing a day. It wouldn't have made its money back.
Yeah.
But man, some of the stuff that he wanted to do, the cast that he was putting together for it, out of the box, but interesting. The designs that he had. I would love to have seen what H.R. Giger's Geedy Prime would have looked like.
Yeah.
Man, that would have been mind-blowing. But I also think you would have needed, like a ton of weed to get through it.
I mean, people sit back and say you need to have weed to watch the Lynch version of Dune. That one, yeah, I mean, I think it would be remembered just if he definitely got the cast that he wanted in there. Orson Welles as Harkonnen, Salvador Dali as the Padishah Emperor, Shaddam IV. I mean, just what he was wanting there, and how wild it was, and obviously, as you go in there, you can see he was going a different direction than Frank Herbert. It was
for sure.
Be like, it's going to be, you have Frank Herbert, and then you got this guy. But I think it definitely would be remembered. Good or bad, that's the debate. That'll be the debate. We don't know. We haven't seen it, obviously. But, I mean, they can still do it as an animated. Can you imagine what's done? Can you imagine done in Mobius art style?
Oh, yeah.
That heavy metal. Yeah. So I'd be encouraged to say, hey, turn this into a miniseries and do that, and let's see what that does. Just keep it away from the mouse.
Please.
There's an alternate universe, just like you said. There's an alternate universe where it's done. I think we should go into. I wish we could just visit those alternate universes and see how some of the stuff turned out.
Yeah, it's definitely one on my wish list. Yeah.
So, I mean, as it goes, I have problems with each one of the presentations of Dune. I think each one fails in certain areas while excels in others. But that's what you get with these adaptations. Just like I have my problem with the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I mean, as brilliant as that is, again, you're taking these three massive tomes and trying to put them in even a 3-hour movie isn't enough for each book. It's just impossible. The richness of the storytelling, everything behind it.
Right. I always say that if you have, if a book that you like is being adapted into a film, you do have to remember, or even a miniseries, you have to remember that there are things that are going to be left out. And there might be some of your favorite scenes. There are characters that are going to be left out or amalgamated. It just, it's never going to be perfect. No video game movie is ever going to follow the games explicitly, because like I said, it's two different styles. No comic book movie is ever going to be comic accurate. It just isn't. Because you have the danger there of you're essentially just doing a motion comic at that point.
Right.
Because there is that trap of wanting to adapt it correctly, but you also have the danger of treating the comic like they're storyboards.
Right.
And then you're just shooting the comic at that point. You know. And Watchmen does that. Sin City does that. They're still fun movies, but they're just frame for frame comics.
See, and that's why I think the Batman '89 is probably one of the best comic book movies out there, because they kept the style, they kept the ambiance, they remembered that Gotham City is as much a character as anything else, and kept that feel that this isn't New York, this isn't Chicago, this is Gotham. And obviously they didn't follow the prescribed everything about it, having instead of Joe Chill killing Wayne's parents, it was Napier, and they actually named the Joker, and we didn't have the name, and he dies at the end. If you haven't seen it, tough luck. It's been out for how many years? 35 years. So I'm not sorry. But the thing is even Bob Kane, despite what people think of him, as he stated that there's nothing about that film he felt he did wrong. In fact, if he would have known better, he would have done where Joe Chill was the Joker and had that connection. But you didn't, at that time, you didn't know what you're going to have for characters. So I think that's a perfect way of how they did a comic book movie. They used it not the comics not as a storyboard, but a template, and then ran off on that.
And you mentioned, video game movies, being adapted from video games. Is that something you still do at this point in time? Play a video game here and there, or is that no longer a passion?
I haven't really in a while. That's because I don't have like a working gaming system, and I just kind of never really went back to it. I enjoy watching other people play. That's for sure, because like I said, I know a number of YouTubers who do gamer streams, but me, the further along that video games go, the less I really know what I'm doing.
You and Mike have that problem.
If somebody could please tell me how you get past that fucking fly trap in Bulletstorm, I would appreciate it. But when the last video game that I really liked was a Western called Gun.
I remember seeing that in the stores, but I never picked it up.
It's basically Grand Theft Auto on horseback.
Okay.
But at the same time, you are getting... you get this really great main kind of revenge, you killed my father plotline. But you also get what was happening in history at the time. You see the Pony Express riders. You see the expansion out west. You see the railroads, the treatment of the Chinese. There is this cowboys and Indians angle, but then you find out they're not all bad, So you're seeing these historical things take place around the main story. And that's what made it interesting. is like, I would love for that to be a movie. It would it would probably have to be a miniseries to do it right, but that had a really good story to it. I really got into that game, and you had a real kick-ass voice cast in it too. Thomas Jane, Lance Henriksen's the villain. Brad Dourif is in it.
Oh my!
Ron Perlman, Tom Skerritt, Chris Christopherson. So you really have this kick-ass voice cast, and they all bring it too. You know, they make you believe they're these characters, even though everything's animated. But that was a really good one. That was the last really good game that I played. So I'm not
Outlaws.
The TV series, or was that a game?
No, there was a game by LucasArts called Outlaws, and you had John Delancey, Mark Hamill, a bunch of others that were the voice cast in there, and it was basically done like a spaghetti western. So you're going out, you're trying to get your find your daughter that got kidnapped after her wife was murdered by these greedy land baron types, and yeah, I mean they even have like the theme song is almost like a spaghetti western that they have in there. It's a fun game. It's out on Steam again. I think I got it on Steam, so I got to start playing it again. It was a wild game. I spent way too many hours playing it. But I want to address one thing though from Admiral Teague. It's funny enough that you would say that back in the late '80s, early '90s, when I was working at the airlines. We had a hub out in Detroit, and one of the times we were out there, one of the ladies that worked out there took a bunch of us out to, enjoy the ambiance of Detroit. And we even went to the top of that one building that's seen in not Blade Runner, but RoboCop, which is they have a twin down in Texas with the rotating restaurant on top. But as we looked out the L or whatever train they call that, we're going past sections and it's like, oh my God, this is Gotham. This is freaking Gotham. Back to you, Steve. Sorry about that. I had to bring that up.
No, and I'm looking on Steam right now, and they actually do have Gun on Steam available to purchase.
Ooh, okay. I love a good Western game.
Me too.
Yeah.
Other than sci-fi, a Western is my other favorite genre.
Well, yeah, I mean, if no one's seen The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, what's wrong with you? You got to watch, even if it's like a 3-hour movie. Watch it; it's fantastic. Or Outlaw Josie Wales, or I mean, or the
Once Upon a Time in the West.
Oh yeah, that epic. Yeah, I mean, they're epics. I mean, you can see where stuff for some of their science fiction franchises got their inspiration from. Okay, I got that.
Speaking of Westerns, I do want to ask you your opinion on Tombstone. What do you think about it, Steven?
Oh, I love Tombstone. It's a great movie. I quote that movie all the time, like everybody else does. I love that movie. But the thing that's and again, this is an area where I might get stuck with Spears. For as much as I love Tombstone, I liked the Kevin Costner Wyatt Earp too. But I liked them for different reasons.
Right.
Because you have the Costner film, which is the more historically accurate. Or as historically accurate as they allow movies to get.
Right.
And then Tombstone is just a fun action movie.
Oh yeah.
That's very quotable, and they both have great casts. But you have the feeling watching Tombstone that they were having more fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You do get that sense that everybody involved behind the scenes, in front of the camera, they were enjoying themselves. I mean,
Mhm.
you know, when you have a scene where you see Kurt Russell go and do this, because I actually have a couple Tombstone clips.
All right, youngster, out you go.
Don't come back. Ever.
And who did he do that to? The actor?
Mm-hmm. Billy Bob Thornton.
Billy Bob Thornton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about a movie that had a great cast.
Mhm.
That movie did have a great cast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, bye.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the thing about it is, when I look at these films like Tombstone or whatever, throw the historical accuracy out. I view these as motion pictures of like the dime novels that they had back then, where these guys were just coming up with stories of these actual living people, and doing this big folklore. Basically building a folklore or folk story with, and none of it's true. Or there might be some truth, but they're all grandiose stories, and that's how I
Mhm.
view Tombstone, especially, and that's what's even more fun about the film.
Yeah, I mean, you go to Tombstone in Arizona. I've actually been there, and you're actually hearing about what actually happened versus what they depicted in the movie, and you still have to appreciate the movie for what they did.
Oh yeah, I mean they have everything all laid out there at OK Corral, who was where and when at certain times, and all that. Yeah, it just then you go up to actually to Boot Hill, and you see the graves up there. Here lies Lester Moore, 4 slugs of a 44, no less, no more. All those fun
Mhm.
things. Yeah. Excuse me, I got a mouse here in the way. Mouse. There we go.
Teague says Dennis Quaid's Doc Holliday was actually damn compelling in the Costner movie. Yeah, he's very good.
Oh yeah.
He was a good Doc Holliday.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not denigrating that movie at all. I like it. It's again, it's good for its own reasons. The remake of 310 to Yuma is good. Yes, it is.
Mhm. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
That
I
was
went and saw that movie with my mom when it came out, and we both enjoyed it. She had me watch the original one first,
yeah, the original one's
and
very good too.
then we went and saw the remake. And she said, "Which one do you like more?" I said, "Well, you can't really compare the two because they're made at different time periods."
Right. Like True Grit.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to 310 to Yuma for a second, the remake is closer to the source material, though, in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
But still very good. Both versions are good. I have them both. I recommend them both. I have the book, or a short story, really. But yeah, and True Grit, the same thing. The Coen Brothers movie is closer to the book, but the John Wayne movie has merits too.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference there is that for all of the posturing, in the end, it's still just a John Wayne movie. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly fine. It was done. They just took this book and made it as a vehicle for him. He wins the Oscar finally. And when he probably should have got it for The Searchers, but neither here nor there. But in the end, the original movie is a John Wayne movie. The Coen Brothers movie is closer to the book. But again, it's like I said, it's never going to be, it's never going to be an exact adaptation. You can approximate it, But then again, at the same time, you have these two movies that are telling the same story, but they're telling it from two different angles, two different points of view.
Mm-hmm.
But they're both still good for their own reasons.
Well, especially if they're respectful to the source material.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the important.
And in the end, both 310 to Yumas are respectful. Both True Grits are respectful. You might like one version over another. You might have wished they had kept this scene in over that one, or done that with the ending. But still, in the end, it's all subjective. It's all. That's what art is. That's what they say. Art is subjective. So, it's a matter of personal taste in the end. And hello, Paulie. Good to see you.
Yes, hello to Paulie from Latino Slant.
Paulie! Always good to see Paulie.
Yes. Great content creator.
Great guy.
Indeed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Paulie is one of the reasons why I have a channel. I mean, he really supported me early on. He brought me onto his show. He still does, Yeah, I mean, he's one of the reasons why I have a channel. One of the reasons why I'm here. So send your letters to Latino Slant, and all complaints can go to
Deleted Scene was just trashing you like you couldn't believe until you showed up. Now he's all sweet and kind. But you should have heard. Go back and watch your show from the beginning, and I tell you, Paulie. No.
In all honesty, Paulie does good stuff. Last Thursday, we did a collector stream, and Mike, Mexican Iron Man, came on along with Stone Loki, and that leads to another question I want to ask you. Building a relationship with your fellow content creators, and the pluses that can happen. Let's forget about the negatives. Let's talk about the pluses. Building that relationship. Supporting one another, being true supporters. Showing up at their stream, going into the chat, sharing out their stream, and being with them through thick and through thin. Paulie is one of those guys that you can get behind and support him 100%. You are one of those guys that you can get behind 100%. Loki, Mexican Iron Man. I know Mexican Iron Man says he's not a YouTuber, but you know what he is? He's a great guy, and he helps out a lot of channels.
Well,
just like you
I
help out a lot of channels, Steven.
That's why I call him the living saint of YouTubers. Mexican Iron Man. Okay,
absolutely.
You're not going to be YouTuber, fine. You'll be our living saint, and that's what he is. And Paulie, absolutely. Who doesn't love Paulie? I mean, and he makes wearing hats look good. I used to wear a hat all the time, and I can't look as good as him. Damn. God bless you too, Paulie.
Yeah. Yes, I appreciate everybody who is here, not just on PACIFIC414, but those of you who are great supporters of Steven, Deleted Scenes. Thank you all for being with us tonight. Really appreciate it. But when you've done streams with Gary and Keith from Pop Culture Minefield, you've done things with Paulie from Latino Slant. You've done things with Troy, Netter, and Age Fooder, among many others. What's your one takeaway when you do these streams?
Well, I'm always surprised that they still have channels once I've been on. No.
That's me too. I mean,
I am become death, destroyer of YouTube channels. No. No, I mean it's the camaraderie. the term fellowship has been used by some people, and I really agree with that. I really do believe that this has become a fellowship, and now we must go out and seek a ring. The ring. Hello.
The
No.
ring.
The ring. The ring. I keep hearing ringing. No. There. We live in a time where you can be canceled for the ideas that you have. And I've certainly been a victim of that, as a number of people here have. And that's one of the reasons why I came to YouTube, because there were these people from different backgrounds, different parts of the country, different cultures, the world. Yeah. I have people from India who watch my channel.
Better watch.
I didn't see that coming. That's great. There was a time when I was, very popular among German men from the ages of 18 and 44. I don't quite know what that means, but there was no. I do check the analytics, folks. All right, analytic joke. Moving on. But yeah, I found this fellowship of people who, even though they didn't look like me, they don't sound like me, and they might have opinions that differ, but they took me in.
There's that common interest that everybody has.
Common interests, be it film, be it video games, comic books, collectibles. There are people who have wrestling channels, gamer streams. You can come on here and bring your interests to other people. Maybe those other people will get interested and see in it what you see in it.
Right.
But that's the thing, is that I am someone who is not used to people being nice. I am someone who is alone a lot, because a lot of my really good friends, unfortunately, are gone now. I have acquaintances. There's the people that I work with. I get along with them, but they're not like having my old group back together. Those of us who used to go to movies, who used to hang out and build the Millennium Falcon out of Legos. I don't have those guys anymore. They're all gone. But coming here and being taken in by this fellowship, I feel like I'm getting a little bit of that back. And that's why I stick to it. I know that I can DM Troy or Jedi Bill and just, hey, you just want to come on and just chat for a while? We're not going to air it. Just hang out, and we can do that.
Yeah.
And I can like ask Mexican Iron Man for advice. Or I can just say hello to, I can just DM Paulie and we can say hello and have a conversation.
Right.
And living in a world where I was beginning to feel more like a number on a social security card than a person. I came here and I became a person again.
Yeah. There is one thing I do want to say to you, deleted scenes, is that how much it meant to me, especially starting out on this platform when you joined myself and Cash for watching Terror on the Prairie. That meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
Because
I was in crowd at that time.
I didn't know very many people on YouTube at that time. And I was still trying to get to know some people. And the fact that you took time out of your day to join us for that watch party and then give your opinion on it after we watched it, it meant a lot to me.
Well, the one thing
I appreciate that. Thank you.
The one thing I like to make an analogy to, being I was kind of in the industry for a while, is when people, when I look at it like when people were back in the heyday of radio. You weren't necessarily on the same station, but you were still in that brother / sisterhood of it, and would hang out. Even like the comedians where they hung out in the Catskills, and did their little bits, and have Uncle Moti come by and steal it. But they'd be all, everyone gather around. They had their own little thing. They didn't necessarily agree on everything. They had different styles, different takes, different ways of doing it. But yet they all appreciate each other's company and the conversation, debates, discussions, all that. And that's what I kind of want to express upon all of us is, this is what we kind of are. We are the 21st century of that, and embrace it, because this is what makes doing YouTube wonderful and helps us get better. We're not trying to outdo each other necessarily, because again, we have the different interests. So if someone's doing a show on something different, you're not necessarily competing against them. And even if you are doing the same thing, you have each other's different style, and you invite each other on. And as a guest, it's like, and you can do that. I mean, like you said, contacting Polly or Mexican Iron Man or whoever. I mean, I get Shrimp Lightning, goes and contacts me. Hey, can you get on Brandon's show? Okay, no problem. He wasn't able to get a guest. I'm your last hope. As I joke. But yeah, it's always, it warms the heart when someone thinks of you that way. And it's like, oh, let's ask this person and all that. And it's like, yeah, you are now part of this bigger family. And this is, we're forging out this new empire. And yes, we are. And people like you, Deleted Scene, of course, Polly, and all the others are the ones that are helping make this frontier a little more civilized and a lot more fun.
And we need that. It can't be all chaos.
No, it can't. Because and I've said this a number of times, on my channel. I don't want this channel that's just all of the time doom and gloom, negative, because that gets me down. And I don't want to be dragged down in that. And I know the people who watch my shows certainly don't. I mean, I hit on some dark subjects sometimes. I did an episode of Unscripted called Broken Covenant. That was a couple of months back, and I had to be very careful how I got around that particular subject. Because I thought, oh, I'm getting yeeted for this one for sure. I'm going to lose my channel. I was really worried I was going to lose my channel when I did that show. And I went, but it got positive feedback because I think I talked about for YouTube a taboo subject, but I did it in a tasteful way, you know. But I don't want to do a show like that all the time, you know. I want to have fun with it too, you know, and that's what I try to do because people. And what do we always say? You know what? People don't want to be reminded of real life and their entertainment, and I see us as entertainment. They want to be when they go to a movie, they want to be taken away from their lives from a couple of hours. They don't want to be reminded of it.
Right.
So I have to have that thought in my mind that yes, you know, there are some uncomfortable subjects that I feel need to be talked about, and I'll talk about them. But at the same time, I want to entertain first. That's always my number one priority. You know, and are there people on YouTube who can do that better than me? Certainly. But that's what I have to remember, that if people are going to take the time out of their day to sit there for an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours, or these people who do these 12 to 24-hour streams, I don't know how they do it, but they do it. You got to remember to keep it entertaining, and that's what's first and foremost in my mind. You know, I've found a group of people who think as I do, in up to the point of they don't want to be reminded of real life when they're watching entertainment. So that's what I try to do first and foremost. I try to keep it light. I try to keep it funny. You know, I'll do some self-deprecating humor at my own expense. It's fine, you know. But
I
you
think
never
it's
know it's going to
important
work
that
until you do it.
I think it's very important that we're able to laugh at ourselves.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we have to.
We have to. Yeah.
Have to. Right. And the thing is you got it right on point. There is, you know, you do something really serious occasionally, which, you know, and obviously it's not, you're not doing it for the shock value, but if it's done only occasionally, it's appreciated more. And then they start, oh, you know what, it was so popular, I'm going to keep doing that. It loses whatever impact you're trying to put on there, because obviously you do want to have an impact, you know, and not for the grandiose or, you know, viewership impact, but you need to have an important point that's drawn up across. Doing it now and then, yeah, that hits home. But it's like, okay, I'm going to keep doing that. Then it loses it and becomes, well, tabloid. It becomes, you know, it becomes almost a shtick, and you don't want that. So you have that right approach. That's exactly it.
You have a great mindset when it comes to creating your content. You know exactly what you want out of your content. You have your content where you are more serious, and then your content where you just let everything fly.
Yeah. And you can joke, and you can be funny, and you know, my thing, you know, like I said, first and foremost, you know, my intention is to entertain, but at the same time, I also want to point people into the direction of entertainment. You know, when I was on that previous app, which will remain nameless, mainly because I'm blanking out on the name right now, but you know, it went woke. You know, and you know, people were being criticized and kind of hounded off of that app because they liked certain movies and didn't like others. They lost track of their mission statement,
Mhm.
Which is you come on and you give your opinion. Everybody doesn't have to agree,
No,
but
not at
you
all.
are allowed to voice your opinion. And once that ceased, and people weren't allowed to voice their opinions anymore, I left and I found YouTube.
And you do see it out there, whether it's
Yeah.
YouTube, whether it's something like TikTok
Mhm.
or any platform that allows you to post a video. There are channels out there where you see them lose their mission statement,
Mhm.
what
Yeah.
their main guideline was, their main roadmap was. You see it happen.
Yeah.
And
It's like go ahead.
oh, that's it. And when you have a platform where you can't have discussion, you got to be all the right think. How boring is that?
Mhm.
That ruins all opportunities of having a good discussion with somebody.
Mhm.
And people, I don't think, have the ability to be able to express their differences without being civilized. They have to throw out those buzzwords all the time. And yeah, it's moronic.
It's
You know,
like you mentioned earlier. You don't want to always focus on the negative content. You see so many times where these live streams or videos are constantly focusing on the same topic each and every week, each and every
Mhm.
month. They're still on that same topic. You've got to change it up.
Mike, it's over, Mike. It's over.
But I can't let it go, Baron. I can't let it go.
It's over, folks. It's finally over, folks.
game over, man.
Yeah, they have.
Actually, if you'd like, I could play that clip. I do have it
We do have
amongst
that.
my many clips. Let me just scroll down to it. There we are.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
R.I.P. B-Pax. It was never game over.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think what's really really important is this particular one that we have.
How many of you think the opinions of actors should be valued as much as, well, say, doctors, engineers, or a courageous congressman?
Right here. Yeah, right on.
Well, you're wrong. Actors are self-centered punks.
Yes. Captain My Tennille, where are you? MXC,
Yeah.
man. I love that show. That was hilarious.
Oh, I love that. I got all of them that they released on DVD. I wish they would have released the last season on DVD, but they didn't. But oh yeah, I love that show. Always a laugh.
Yeah. I like
that
what
was
Tree Rock
right.
says here. It is getting very hard to find positive things.
Yeah.
I try to be. I don't know if I'm always successful. I try. I know. I always bring the show down. I know it.
No, it's fine. No, it's not a matter of bringing a show down. Although I'm always in fear of doing that. But whenever I know I'm going to go, well, as I put it, into a dark area. Yeah, I do try to warn people first. Like I said, the episode I did, Broken Covenant, at my episode of Unscripted.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not kidding. I thought I was going to get my channel yeeted. I really did. And so I did warn everybody first. this might be it, because I'm going to talk about things that I know the powers that be at YouTube are not going to want people to go into, because I was talking about a story that did actually get somebody's channel taken down.
Mm-hmm.
So I was, so I'm not like overstating my concerns. It
Right.
was happening in front of me. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to do the show, because, I was seeing a story where I thought that the news media was getting the focus wrong because of their own political reasons.
Mm-hmm.
They were falsely reporting or not giving the whole story to the general public. And I felt it needed to be said, and in the middle of everything, there was a crime that was committed, a crime where people lost lives. And I felt that those people were being forgotten because you had the news media that was more wrapped up in their political agenda than doing their jobs, which was to report the news.
It was
And with that show, I decided I'm going to report the news. And I am going to go out and I'm going to tell my audience this information that I felt was being withheld from them.
Mm-hmm.
So I went on. I did like a 25-minute show. It was a truncated show purposefully. I made my audience aware of this story. I went point by point. I was as respectful as I thought I could be, which is probably why I didn't get yeeted or get the video taken down.
Right.
But I did warn everybody beforehand, this is going to be an upsetting subject.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's a video that only gets 2 views at the end of the day, then so be it.
Mm-hmm.
But the news media is lying to you about this particular story, or they're not telling you everything, and I think you need to hear the truth.
Right.
Because we have 6 people dead that didn't have to be, and their deaths are being swept under the rug because of an agenda. And I wasn't going to stand for it.
Right.
No, there are times where you look at something like that and you have to make a stand.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's brave.
And
It's brave,
that
because like you said,
episode was me taking a stand.
Mm-hmm. And isn't it sad that here we are, we're not the quote unquote professionals, but we're doing their job and doing it better? Because, like you
I
said,
think
you're
we are.
respectful. Yeah, like you said, you're respectful about it. So, which is which some of the YouTubers out there tend to want to take something like this and be a little bit more shock and awe, so they can have more more clicks. But when you're respectful about the subject and make it known that way, it has that impact and less chance of someone reporting it, saying that, oh, look, you're just glorifying this horrible incident that happened.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's just like reading an article and going through the entire article so you can give those who are watching or listening all the information that's there.
Right.
And if there's follow-up information, give them that too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we had someone complain that we read the whole article. Well, yeah, we do. But you're also the same one that complains that we're not getting the full story. So make up your mind. Are we going to have the full story or not? And more importantly, we're going to, we're going to make our opinion known, and we make it known. It's our opinion. But in the end run, it's up to the person who hears the story to deduct what it is. And that's what I like about Pop Talk. That's what I like about Mike. It's like, yeah, we're going to go through the whole thing, and we're going to, we're going to have our say, but you have the whole story now. You can digest it.
Have there ever been stories where we haven't gone through the whole article? Yes, there have.
Oh hell yeah!
If it's a bunch of gobbledygook, then
Oh,
we make the decision right then and there. We're not going to continue on with this because we're getting nowhere.
yeah, it's word salad.
It's word salad written by a 4-year-old with ADD. And
right. And
yeah,
we don't
and
read
that's
the articles in advance, so everyone gets, it's like you're getting it just like we are,
Mm-hmm. What was it? Fluttergork. Okay, whatever. And then you go to the dictionary, and the dictionary says, "Wow, I really have no idea."
Yeah.
And one thing I do want to ask you is, do you want to do scripted content, or do you want to just do it live and say what's on your mind without going by a script and having everything prepared ahead of time? Because there are some folks who do prefer to go by a script, and then others like us who like to go off the cuff.
Right.
Well, yeah. Well, I do tend to go more off the cuff. I do have a format. I do go, I do go in mind that I'm going to spend X amount of time on this segment and then on that segment, but what I actually come on and say is off the cuff. I don't type anything out. It's all in my head, comes out my mouth. Hopefully it makes sense. I did one show where I tried to script it. Not the whole thing, but to a certain extent, I tried to put in scripted content, and I hated it. I think it's the worst show I've done when I tried to script it out. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I'm against scripted content, or I think people are wrong-headed doing it. I would like to do more scripted content at some point. I'm just saying that I don't think I'm there yet to do it. I would, if it was something that was like a pre-recorded video, I would probably be much better at it. But when I'm trying to do a live show and I'm trying to do something scripted, I did that once and it didn't come off. So I think I'm going to be staying away from that. No, a while. Oh, yeah. And like Lady V says in the chat, I've tried it too. It blows. You're too boxed in. Yeah, I tried to script it, and I put myself in this box, and it came out badly. It was a show where I admit I thought I totally sucked. But I'm always my own worst critic. Anyway,
we all are. Yeah,
but
we all are.
I do have shows where I've gone back and I've listened to them that I've liked. So and again, that's one of the things that gave me the confidence to go on, and to continue broadcasting, because if I am my own worst critic and I can go back and listen to a show and say that was a good show, you are on it, and the guests were good and they were engaged, that's when I know it works. And you don't always know. What kind of what show is going to work. And I have videos that have 2 views. I have videos no one's watched. you know, but then again, I have videos that just blow up, and I never know
You never
what's
know
going to
what.
work.
Yeah, I was gonna say you never know what video or live stream is actually gonna just hit just right. And what I mean by
Right.
that is get folks to go, I'm intrigued by this, and actually
Yeah.
click onto the video or live stream and
Mhm.
listen to it for a while.
Yep. Exactly. I mean, for me, just like you were saying, the one thing I never, for all the years I've been doing things like this, I never liked either seeing myself on the air or hearing myself on the air or in a recording. And I had to break myself of that habit when I came into doing YouTube, and for to critique myself. It's like, am I doing this good? How am I doing? And yeah, you're your own worst critic. And once you get over that and actually can truthfully analyze yourself, you're getting there. You're getting there, and you're not getting full of yourself, not being egotistical. You're being a true critic. It's like, this worked, that didn't work. I need to improve here, and that's the great thing about this YouTube. We're all experimenting with it. This is still
Mhm.
uncharted territory in many ways in the form of entertainment. Let's enjoy it for what it is before it starts getting pigeonholed, and which is something I don't want. So enjoy these halcyon days. This is the exciting time to be a YouTuber or a content creator or whatever it is you want to call yourself.
And it doesn't matter if it's a live stream like this, where you're talking to a guest or you're reading articles, playing a game,
Mhm.
whatever it is, make sure you do one important thing. And I know you do this, Steven, because you already mentioned it, is have fun while doing it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
If you don't like doing it, then why are you doing it?
Yeah. That's the chief thing for everybody to remember. Anybody who is in the chat or is watching the replay, if you want to get into YouTube, make it fun.
Mhm.
Because if you do not enjoy it, who will? Find something
Mhm.
that you're interested in, that you like to talk about. That I'm going to tell you the same thing that Gary told me. You have a voice. If you have a subject that you like to talk about, start with that.
Mhm.
And
Well,
then
he gave me.
as you go on, you will see what works and what doesn't.
Mhm.
And you can make changes because it's not set in stone. It's your
Mhm.
channel. Do what you want with it.
He gave you better advice than he gave me. His advice to me was "fuck you, Baron," and that's what he told me.
Well,
But
it's so
it
easy
kind of.
to it's so
Yeah.
easy to say, Baron.
Yeah, I know it does. I mean, Fat Steven and of course Gary, and I get told that a lot from people. I mean, I'm surprised Steve hasn't started dropping that on me now. But it's kind of the same with what Mexican Iron Man when I talked to him said. He goes, what was your? He asked straight, "What's your purpose for YouTube?" And I said, "They have fun, to go out there, be entertaining." Because, and he says those are the right ideas. Because so many people think that, oh, I'm going to get a YouTube. I'm going to do this for the money. I'm going to get the money. If that's your attitude, you're gonna flop. You're gonna
No.
crash and burn.
If
Mhm.
Yeah, if you get into YouTube expecting to be rolling in dough or that you're going to automatically get as many clicks as Doomcock, then you're going about this all wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because people are going to see through that real quick
Mm-hmm.
because it comes off disingenuous.
Mhm.
You will
does.
come off looking like the grifter that all the haters say that we are. We
Yeah.
don't do this for money. We
Mm.
don't do we don't do this to gain some sort of notoriety or fame. We do it because we like it. We do it
Mhm.
because of the people that we have come to meet along the way. You know,
Mhm.
I do the other side of midnight so I can hang out with Troy and Netter in Sin's Corner and Jedi Bill.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know, I want to hang out with my friends. I want to hang out with people who support my channel. You know, it's not a chat if Lady V isn't there, or if Lester San Jose isn't there, or if Connie isn't there.
He's putting the pressure on you
They're
guys. You
why
gotta be the
I do this. You know,
Exactly. As much as we bust Phil and Kraken's chops, we have
yeah,
had some great conversations with Phil
Mhm.
in the Discord chats, in
Right.
backstage chats after Pop Talk. It's
Mhm.
because of people like Phil, because of people like Connie, because of people like Lady Mist and several other people. It's because of
Mhm.
people like Admiral Teague that we're doing this. It's because of people like Connie that we are doing this. It's because of
And
people like Jace that we are
Mhm.
doing this.
I don't know. That's good. That's going a little too far. Just kidding,
Sin's
Jace.
Corner,
Mhm.
Killy Chow. How many of us get a smile on our face whenever Killy Chow pops up in the chat?
Mhm. Yeah. Give
Das
the old
Wolfen,
roll tide. Oh yeah, John. Hey, John. Grow your beard back.
Fats. How many of us love watching his game streams? We go there
Fat,
because he's having fun. And
Fats
we're
is a
having
great
fun
guy.
while we're watching. Yes.
Mhm. He is honestly.
I consider him a friend.
Mm-hmm. I need to talk to him more often. He always puts a smile on my face. You do, Fats. If you're still listening.
Yeah.
Let's not forget Big
You,
Daddy Gap. Huh.
I was just bringing him up. You and I are on the same page, Baird.
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
that
I
troublemaker.
I love seeing T Gap Steve come in, or as I like to call him, Big Daddy T Gap,
Mm-hmm.
and come in and put episodes of Beverly Hills 414 into the chat because I never know where he's going to take it. He's helped make it fun.
Mm-hmm. Well,
As much as we're a part of our own channels, it's more important that you are all part of our channels.
mm-hmm. Well, it's like I've told the guys. I think I said it on air too. The one thing we're building our own mythologies here, even amongst ourselves. I mean, obviously now you got to tone down, Baron, real, the guy that's not wearing any masks right now because we have a guest on we're interviewing. But when we don't have that, we start turning into that show where, yeah, we're not into having money, but I do still expect my 2 cents a month from Mike for doing the show. I mean, yeah, are the stuff that we do about cash money and as I tease him about going down the Fullerton. We do build a little bit of this mythology, which a lot of the old shows used to have amongst everybody. And of course, the quote unquote feuds that weren't feuds; it was all shtick that they had going out there. And that's just it. That's one thing you have to remember is we're building characters. We are becoming characters of ourselves. We're still who we are. Uh, but again, if you're able to laugh and make fun of yourself, poke fun at yourself, you're now building a caricature. You're building a, a cast, a storytelling amongst everything else, and that's what's important. You being entertaining. Uh, you got your show face on, but it's still you. You're not hiding behind it and being fake or fraud. And that's the important thing. I mean, Doomcock's got the best one going out there. with the mask and the mysterious identity, who is he type of thing, future ruler of the earth. And if you don't like what you consider, quote unquote, some people call this clickbait with with his rumor mill, you got the Friday Night Frolics, where he puts on a hell of a show and is an entertainer. And that's even more important, I think, when it comes around Doomcock. Don't if you don't like his rumor mill, fine. At least tune in for that and have a good time.
Yeah, see that's the thing. You do develop a relationship where somebody might be coming in saying, "Oh, I'm gonna bust this guy's chops," and then they actually end up sitting back and watching your streams. There might be, one or two streams that they're only here for, and that's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine. Because guess what? They're still in your chat. They're still supporting you, and they're still part of the conversation when you're having a discussion stream, or there's a topic on your mind that you want to share with everybody. They're still sitting back, they're relaxing, they're having the conversation because you're making it interesting for them to actually stick around. And yes, Baron, I did throw in the tagline for Pop Talk, but that's what it's about. It's about streams like this, where we're sitting back, we're getting to know what Steven likes.
See
as
that,
far as
Steve?
movies and books.
Here we are having this. We're centering on you, and Mike still has to throw in his taglines and such. I tell you,
it works, Baron.
Will we
It
get you
works.
back? Will we get you back after that? Will you come back after he does this to you? Oh, the pain, the agony.
Baron. You see, what Barrett's trying to do, Steve, is he's trying to get me to kick him out, but I try not to kick him out during any discussion streams like this. It's usually during our usual banter.
I'm not going to get kicked out. I'm just expressing concerns and stuff like that. I mean,
all right. But before we do wrap up here, please, Steven, if there's anything that you'd like to add a little more on, or bring up, please, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, I think the thing I'm doing right now is trying to think of what I'm going to do next week. I do have all of these shows that I have to do, and then I'm starting to realize, wait a minute, I don't really have a topic yet. Well, for the midnight show, that's easy because I can bring a bunch of guests on, and we can just chill out and just talk about whatever. It's really all it is, and we hit on certain subjects, but for the most part, we just get to have fun and hang out.
Right.
But unscripted, usually by midweek, but usually by Wednesday or Thursday, I have a pretty good idea what I'm going to do. However, right now I don't know. Because I have this great guy, Fletcher Williams, who's producing Paulie's show now. He does all of my thumbnails, so I like, well, most of them anyway. And hello, aged boomer. Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you, Boomer.
So usually by midweek, I try to kind of have some ideas for thumbnails, so he'll have time to go and work on them. And I actually did a show about that once. I did a show about not being able to come up with a topic for a show. And I just riffed on that,
the show about nothing.
It was a show about nothing, literally. And yeah, That's really the main thing, is I want to come up with something that'll entertain people. I still have my 10 best and worst movies of the year videos to do. Because I enjoy watching the hell. I watch the hell out of those, especially the 10 worst. Have at it. True Rock Creation says you seem to be streaming every day. I don't know how to do that. Well, that's easy. I don't. I'm cloned. There's 12 of me running around. Well, that is something I want to go into real quick while we still have a few moments.
Go ahead.
People who have full-time jobs and yet still find the time to stream. Anybody who thinks that we're in this for money, there are YouTubers, and I've gone on with some of them who can afford to do this full time because they make enough money from YouTube to pay the bills and whatnot. I'm not there yet. So, I got to work, and I'm at a point where I've been working in the day and streaming at night. That's what I do, So no, it's not easy, and it also leads to some funny moments where you doze off in the middle of a stream. Guilty is charged, and let's not lie, we've all done it. We've all dozed off for a couple of minutes.
I've done it when I've been a guest on a stream. It's like, oh crap, they're calling my name.
What?
That happened to me once, and everybody's deleted scenes. I'm like, oh yeah. We've been off the air for 20 minutes. I'm like, no. It's happened.
At least you didn't fall asleep on the air and radio. I did that.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah.
This is Barrett Orman Tagge, and I'm taking you to nappy time.
Yeah, it happens. It is a matter of time management, and time management, I will admit, is something I'm not always good at. But I am on a lot because I have developed this network of people, and I'm going on with Bill tomorrow afternoon. As soon as I get off from work, I'm going to do a show.
And one of the things that you do with Jedi Bill is you do karaoke streams with him.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy, isn't it? I can't sing. What am I doing? If anybody had told me 2 years ago you're going to be on YouTube doing karaoke streams, I would have said you're nuts. I do, and we do watch parties. We have a Western show on Sunday. Bill's brought action theater back, which is what we're going to be doing tomorrow. Only my problem there is he starts the show about the time I'm supposed to be getting off of work, and I don't always get off of work on time, because we get busy. So I hate jumping into the middle of streams sometimes, but sometimes it's necessary, So yeah, it's a bit of a time crunch sometimes, but we get past it. People understand, You know, we
Mhm.
we gotta pay the bills first. You know, and then fun time second. You know.
Definitely. And I want to thank you very much for taking time and spending your time with us here tonight here on
Absolutely.
Pacific 414 Pop Talk. And I would love to have you back again sometime this year.
Sure. Let me
And
know a day and time.
seeing, I definitely will. And seeing that you are our guest, go ahead and promote yourself. Let everybody out there know what you have coming up on your channel.
All right. Well, coming up tomorrow, 3 p.m. Jedi Bill, action theater. We are going to be watching Cliffhanger from 1993 with Sylvester Stallone. Die Hard on a Mountain. It's a good one. Still holds up. Friday. Yo. Yeah, I'm up here climbing on this mountain with all these guys shooting at me. What's up with that? You know, I got this case full of money here, and it's getting cold, so I guess I'm going to have to burn it all.
I'm
Anyway,
sorry. I sorry I took my mask off in Dredd, Judge Dredd.
yeah,
Quit shooting at me.
yeah.
But it was the law. You know that, Barry. It was the law.
I'm the law.
The law. Yeah.
Little did we know we were going that Demolition Man was a documentary.
Yeah.
Anyway, right. So Action Theater tomorrow. That's going to be at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. Friday, I am going to be joining Troy Pacelli over Pacelli. Actually, I keep wanting to say Pacelli. Sorry. Where did you get that pronunciation?
He's gonna get you for that.
He's gonna get
I've
me
done
for
it
that.
too. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten me for that.
Right.
Always
And
now.
I'm going to be joining him for his show, Friday Night Last Call, 10 p.m. All these times are Eastern, folks. I'm going to be joining him at 10 p.m. for Friday Night Last Call. And we're going to take a deep dive into a subject that I did on Unscripted last Sunday, which is this hashtag I've been pushing, hashtag walk away, which I got from a Dave Cullen video. And we're going to kind of go a little bit deeper into if there are certain people in Hollywood that don't want you to watch their movies or television, oblige them and walk away. And that's what we're going to be talking about. Also, let's see, Saturday, I'm going to be joining Jedi Bill for one of his karaoke shows, After Hours Karaoke. Before that, I think, is it Big Al's week or Netter's week to do a movie? Well, anyway, stay tuned to Big Al Presents for Films with Friends and Netter's Network for Retro Cinema. They switch off weeks. I don't remember who's on this week. I'll have to look that up, but stay tuned for those shows. Let's see, Sunday, once again, joining Bill, Western Cinema Presents. I don't remember right offhand what movie we're doing next. This is where I need Bill. But we're going to be on Western Cinema Presents, 3 p.m. It's going to be simulcast, so it's going to be on his channel and mine. So stay tuned for what the movie's going to be. And then, of course, Unscripted. That's at 8 p.m. No topic yet, but I'll have one by then. That's the lead into Geeky Geezers over on Aged Boomer's channel. I am going to be joining Boomer and Troy for Geeky Geezers on the 21st. And we're going to be talking about the Oscar nominations. Because I tend to get those right. And I tend to guess who wins pretty well too, so we're going to be talking about that. And
That's the whole thing.
right? And then are the Oscars still? No, not really. But we're going to talk about them anyway. And then let's see. And then of course there's The Other Side of Midnight. Guests to be determined. And maybe a couple of people on this panel might be getting a link. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look
So
forward to it.
feel free to stop by. And of course, that's
Cash is not here. He's getting invitations. I tell you.
yeah. All right. So let's see. That leads to Tuesday, and that's live from Sparkwood in 21. That's the show I brought up earlier in the stream, which is a retrospective of the Twin Peaks television series. Season 2, Episode 3 is what we're going to be discussing, and that's going to be Tuesday night at 8:30.
Very nice.
So
When do you sleep?
That's what I'm going to be. When do I sleep?
Honestly, this is serious. When do you sleep? On the air, right?
If I'm not on, usually anywhere between midnight and 6 or 7 a.m. Usually, yeah. Depending on, yeah.
You got yourself definitely a broadcaster's obsession. Not obsession, but down pat to being a professional right there. It's like boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I'll find sleep. I when I die, I'll have sleep. Type of attitude.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
And Baron, what do you have coming up on Baron Orman Tagge's Fandom Legacy?
Like that channel's actually a thing anymore. No, besides trying to get it revived again, from being a lazy bastard that I am, Saturday at 7:00 Central Standard Time. Please join me, this gentleman next to me, Mike from PACIFIC414. You might have heard of him. Cash Monet of the Phantom Booligans, Lord Crit of Everest Production, and of course the irascible Phil McCracken of Release McCracken. We're going to be discussing Babylon 5 Season 3, what is this, Part 3 or Part 4? I can't remember.
I believe it's Part 4.
Part 4, I think, yeah. We're kind of in the crux of stuff with how very important storytelling of that television series, which is why it's taken us a little bit longer to get through this season, but it's well worth it. Please join us, and hopefully we'll get this season finished that night, discussing Mike's favorite story, Grey 17 is Missing, the pinnacle of Babylon 5.
There have been a lot better episodes and stories of Babylon 5 than Grey 17 is Missing.
Yeah, half the episodes.
What a waste of Robert Englund.
Oh, yeah. It truly is. It truly is. But I mean, at least half the story is good, and I wish there was been more of the focus. But just to do a spoiler, J. Michael Zazinski has said if he could go door to door to every fan of Babylon 5 and apologize personally, he would. So we'll just leave it at that. And of course, you didn't say I'm going out with this guy, and of course, Cash Money and whatever little endeavors that. Well, Mike is going to say it, but we can't say for Cash because he's still dead. He's still playing Assassin's Creed and acting like he's sick.
Right.
Let's be truthful. That's what's happening.
And I am getting Cash's link again, and I am making sure that I get your link, Baron.
Mm-hmm. And hopefully we're going to be gaming on Friday. He's talking about that if he's feeling good. So
yeah.
And that's like 8:30 Central Standard Time.
Yeah, so hopefully if Cash is feeling better, there's going to be an Among Us stream on Friday as long as he's feeling better.
Mm-hmm.
and that'll be at 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern time. And I know he's been talking about continuing on with his Ratchet and Clank stream. He wants to try to beat that game.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully he'll be feeling well enough to be able to do that.
I think he's been eager now that you have the game to do Space Marines, the co-op games that they have in there, smashing and grabbing in there, and of course getting back to Vermintide and Darktide, in Myth Force.
Yes, because we've had a lot of fun, Steven, when
Oh.
we do our Friday night game streams and just switching up the game every Friday. And we do that over on Cass's channel, the Phantom Hooligans, which I've posted the link in there. Also, the link for deleted scenes, Cash Money Baron, and myself are in the description below.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we haven't had a stinker of a game yet, I don't think. So, I mean, we're doing pretty good.
Mm-hmm. And anything else coming up on Baron Orman Tagge's Phantom Legacy, Baron?
Nah, that's it. I mean, yeah,
Okay.
that's it. And see, Cash, I plugged you, Cat Man. You owe me.
Well, he's a part of this team. I'm not going to forget about him.
He owes me. He owes me.
And H Boomer, I agree with you. Quake was a good game.
Oh God! Talk about pulling an old game up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Nothing
still
wrong.
waiting for Dark Horses.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that remaster, and there's nothing wrong with playing old games, especially a remaster of an old game, as long as they keep it true to what it is. But speaking of games that have been fun, and I've had a lot of fun playing it. Yes, I've died a lot in it, but again, because I'm still having fun, and part of it is because of the franchise. Transformers. I will be uploading the final part of Transformers War for Cybertron either tomorrow night or possibly have it premiere early Friday morning. So that'll be coming up on the channel. And as far as anything else on PACIFIC414, there's going to be the the Sunday edition of Pop Talk at 1 p.m. Eastern. I don't know what we're talking about yet, but I will definitely figure that out as it gets closer to Sunday and we look through some articles and look at the headlines and go, that might be interesting to discuss. And then, of course, for next week.
How about how stupid Screen Rant is and what a bunch of morons they are?
That's a perfect topic right there. And as far as next week, as far as the game streams are concerned, I want to resume Crisis Core, and I hope to resume it next week. But I also have to finish Cuphead, so we'll see how that goes. That game is difficult, but I'm having a lot of fun playing it, just like any other game that I've played. And before we get out of here, I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you who watched this edition of PACIFIC414 Pop Talk on Deleted Scenes YouTube channel, on his Twitter channel, well, Twitter feed, I should say, but also to those of you who have watched it here on PACIFIC414 on YouTube and Rumble. And I want to thank Chris Baker over on Rumble for stopping by and giving us a like. And I want to thank everybody who was watching on Twitter and YouTube. I want to thank Fluff Chick Productions. Thank you very much for being here. And let me get down to the next name, which was Lady Mist. Lady Mist, thank you for being here. Age Boomer, thank you for being here with us tonight. Spock's Friday Nights, thank you for being with us tonight. Really appreciate it, brother. And of course, Polly, Latino Slant, thank you, Polly, for stopping by. Really appreciate it. DJ Ronnie G, thank you very much, brother. And also, before I forget, because DJ Ronnie G is a member, members at 2 p.m. Eastern Time this Saturday, there will be a member stream for all of you.
Oh yeah, and DJ nerd.
And of course, Matt, the Tad that shouldn't be. Good to see you. It's been a long while, brother. And oh crap, just took that away. I didn't mean to.
Oh,
And of course, I also want to thank Dulce Maris. Thank you. Appreciate you being here. We also had the Rock Creations. Thank you. Appreciate you being here, supporting Steven. As well as FKHC 2005. Thank you. And here's another name I haven't seen in a while, but it's great to see you. GPR PH1, good to see you. And of course, Fat Steven was here. Great to see you, Fats.
mm-hmm.
Dolph Wolfen was here. Good to see you, brother. Keely Chow, roll tide, brother, roll tide. And of course, Lord Crit of Everest Productions. Good to see you, Crit. There was also Sin's Corner. Good to see you. We also had Lady V Elements. Thank you for being here. And he's from Norway. He's from 540. Jason Fox of 540 Studios. Thank you for being here. Low spec Linux laptop. Everybody's favorite penguin besides Punk Waddle.
2 penguins enter, 1 penguin leaves.
We also had Christian DeLorme's Vinyl Revival. Come on, Mike, speak.
Well, this is quite a mouthful. An impressive one, though, but it's still mouthful.
Phil McCracken. He's not a Scottish therapist.
Boo.
But he is Phil McCracken.
Boo. Played by Patrick Stewart, his favorite actor. In fact, we can say
This is Patrick Stewart, and I wish to tell Phil McCracken that I hate him also.
Also want to thank Admiral Teague for being here. Our guest, Stephen Ottman, also known as Deleted Scenes.
Thank you.
Connie Cleary, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. And of course, he's the head writer, only writer for Beverly Hills 414, Big Daddy T-Gap Steve. And ladies and gentlemen, I got one more announcement to make before we leave. And brother, I thank you for this. I really do. Now, which video should I play? You know what? I'm going to play this one. So before anything, thank you very much for doing this, brother.
Yay!
It's something that people have said, Mike, you got to push it more. But I don't want people to think I'm doing this for the money, because I'm not. I'm doing this because I enjoy doing it. But Steven, thank you for becoming a new member. And for you, you know what? I'm going to play all 3 for you.
Oh, wow.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Glory to you and your house.
And one.
You have the ring. And I see your Schwartz is as big as mine. Now let's see how well you handle it.
Thank you very much for that, brother.
He wanted to get in that membership stream so bad that he joined up. I like that. Thank you.
But thank you to each and every one of you for watching this edition of Pacific 414 Pop Talk. I do appreciate it. I know I've been saying that over and over again, but I really do. And without you, this channel doesn't exist. I'm not doing this I'm probably doing something else, but thank you all. And remember 2 things on Pacific Forum 4. Don't give up on me in a game, because just when you do, you might miss something. And 2, I'm not just a baseball guy, I'm an all-around guy. Take care, everybody.
Autobots, transform and roll out.
Yeah, like a spectacular death. That's what you'd be missing. You don't want to miss that.
Pop Talk is where it's at, baby.
Don't you know it? But I'm still in it for the money. I want my 2 cents a month. By the way, last month's payment is late. Don't make me talk to Fran Drescher. She'll make things right. That's right, I complain a lot. It's my thing. You know it.